Then, 12 years after the assassination, this full uncut version of a strip of film that shows the assassination of JFK, it finally airs on national TV.
It's the film shot by the Dallas dress manufacturer Abraham Zapruder, and it's the execution of President Kennedy.
This was the first time that Americans could see solid visual evidence of this event. But why hadn't it been released earlier? To some, this film contradicted the official account of the Warren Commission, and it sparked this new demand for real answers from a government that kept behaving like it was hiding something. All of this is coinciding with a time in American history where Americans are losing faith in the federal government. You see this massive, nosedive. All of the CIA's covert operations are starting to come to light. The country is mired in this endless war in Vietnam. The president's people were just found spying on the political opponents in a hotel in D.C. Like, the government has not earned our trust as citizens. So people are like, it wouldn't be a far stretch that the government was also behind the assassination of JFK. This was furthered by the suspicious assassination of Martin Luther King Jr.
Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
This was all too much, and the people wanted answers. So in a shining moment of redemption of our democracy, Congress responded by forming a committee that reopened the investigations into these two assassinations, JFK and MLK. This committee did a real investigation. They actually were earnest about this, and they confirmed what a lot of Americans were already feeling, which is that the Warren Commission's investigation didn't sufficiently look into the possibilities of a conspiracy. They say it point blank. They were way too fixated on their assumptions that it had to be this lone gunman that did it, and that their conclusions were way too definitive. And then they specifically call out the FBI and the CIA for withholding information from the investigation. One FBI agent even testified that he was ordered by his superiors to destroy evidence, in this case a letter that Oswald had written to the FBI.
When he handed it to me and he said, Oswald's dead now, there can be no trial. Here, get rid of this.
Why was the FBI asking its agents to destroy evidence? The committee concluded that it was a, quote, high probability that it was two gunmen that fired at JFK and that it was probably a conspiracy. That's what it says. But they stopped short of trying to determine who that other gunman was or who had organized the conspiracy. And then they once again make the recommendation that all of the information on this topic be made public.
Isn't it time for the American people to at least know what happened at 12:30 p.m. in Dallas, Texas on November 22nd, 1963?
Caveat, the committee's conclusion that the assassination was probably a conspiracy relied heavily on one piece of evidence, which was the sound recording from that day, where you can hear gunshots and you hear more than three, and they kind of inferred that there were multiple shooters. This evidence was later challenged and kind of debunked by the FBI, but also a different research facility that basically said this sound recording wasn't even gunshots, it wasn't even recorded during the time of the assassination. But to me, the whole conspiracy thing was not actually the most important part of this committee's report. The most important part was that they confirmed that the Warren Commission had been cherry-picking evidence and hiding stuff from the American people. After the Congressional Committee confirmed to the American people that the FBI and the CIA had been hiding evidence, the conspiracy theories rose up once again, culminating in this movie in the early 90s that paints an alternative picture of what could have happened here. A shadowy government conspiracy to kill the president, or at least a conspiracy to cover up the real story.
Oswald, Ruby, Cuba, the Mafia. Keeps them guessing like some kind of polygon, prevents them from asking the most important question, why? Why was Kennedy killed? Who benefited? Who has the power to cover it up?